May, we wanted you to kick this off today because we had a very interesting topic today, Annie, something called cosmic radiation.
Yeah, and May brought this up yesterday. We have a post-show meeting every day. We talk about what's going to happen the next day. And May brought this up that the FAA is kind of raising the alarm about radiation on flights and for flight crews. And all of us scratched our heads. We said, oh my gosh, I've never even considered that or heard of it. So what is this cosmic radiation?
So the question was, well, where does it even come from?
Yeah.
Nobody really knows about it. And I did do my homework. I knew a little bit about it, but I did my homework. First, let's talk about glamour profession. When you think of an airline pilot,
I like that.
we're not talking about drug smugglers.
No, I'm thinking about my favorite Steely Dan song.
Automatically, she looks at you.
She knows me.
Austin.
She knows
Because
me.
in a Steely Dan song.
It is. It's a good dance.
Yes, but anyway, no,
Lord.
we are talking about airline pilots. You think it's a glamorous job.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
The fancy uniform, the high salary, travel around the world. People look at them as celebrities.
Yeah.
But there's a dark side to being an airline pilot or really part of the flight crew, and that is the danger of cosmic radiation. Now, the reason we talked about it is there's a new report that just came out, and it talks about this. There's a congressionally mandated report published this month by the National Academies of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine. And it concludes the FAA and the airlines need to do more to protect pilots, flight attendants, and other crew members from natural radiation exposure on the job. It's bad enough that they want this to be considered an occupational hazard because flight crew is exposed to just as much, if not more, radiation than any other U.S. worker. But other U.S. workers have systems in place to protect them, regulatory protections in place.
Yeah.
Airline pilots do not. So let's just talk about the elephant in the room. What is cosmic radiation? Y'all tell me what you know because you were on the show this morning. But now let's talk.
We'll put
you on the
put you
spot,
on the spot.
Austin.
We're going to
So I know that when astronauts go into space,
Yeah.
there's a large concern because you're above Earth's atmosphere that protects us from the bulk of it. So I'm going to assume being 30,000 feet plus up in the air, similar?
Yeah, and at 35,000 feet.
So
Gold
smart.
star.
Yes.
Wow.
At 35,000 feet, it's higher than it is on the ground. It's also higher at the poles. So, it's, North Pole, South
Closer to the
Pole.
poles.
It
Okay.
has to do with latitude, right? So that'd be the poles. At the equator, it would be less. It has to do with altitude. The higher you are, the worse it is. How long you're exposed to it. So airline pilots who have been up there for 30, 40 years.
These transcontinental flights, too. Yeah.
Right. So on one flight, it's not enough radiation to harm you, but cumulatively over the course of a career where you spend your whole time in the cockpit or in an airplane, because guess what? The gamma rays and these particles, they penetrate the airplane, the fuselage.
Can I ask just a simplified elementary question here?
I hope I can answer
Well,
it.
no, I mean, I realize you're not a physicist or doctor or anything like that. But, okay, if the radiation is coming from the sun, the closer you are to it, proximity, I mean, that just adds up, right? I mean, is that
Well,
why?
And it has to do with solar flares also.
I was going to say, is it only because of the sun or is it just radiation that is there?
That is in outer space.
Yeah.
And it has to do with our magnetic poles too.
Okay.
I'm not going to tell you more than that because I haven't
Yeesh.
researched that.
Fair enough.
So
So I don't want to give you false
in a career
information.
for a flight crew or a
Yeah.
pilot, I mean, I know you know the hours. I mean, how much time are people spending in, say, a 20, 30-year career?
Well,
in
if
the skies?
you're,
That's a lot.
when I flew charter for a year in the Honda jet, we're flying at 43,000 feet. We did 5 legs a day all across the country. So you're probably in the airplane 7 hours a day. And if you do that for years and years and years and years. Now, they found out with this report too, that exposure to cosmic radiation also increases the chance for melanoma. And we talked about in the show this morning. They found out that you take a captain who sits in the left seat, the left side of the captain's face had more damage than the first officer who sits in the right seat where the right side of the sun hits them. So melanoma has higher frequency in pilots than the general population. That, according to the National Institutes of Health, and the Journal for American Medical Association Dermatology Division.
Is there a way to, in talking about melanoma, and we know that we've been told many times that even when you're driving, you should put sunscreen
Yeah,
on, or
yeah.
like, or if you're one of those people that puts their arm on the
Yeah.
on the
Yep.
Austin's
that's
raising
Austin.
tan,
My left arm is
on
more
the windowsill, that
Yeah.
it gets more
Yeah.
tan. Is there
Yeah.
anything that you can put into the windows of the cockpit? I mean, I'm thinking of the shades that I have in the back seat for our daughter to like block the sun, but you can't do that in an airplane. So are there any ways to kind of better protect pilots, May-Kay?
Well,
Is it like a special
do know
coating on
that
the windshield?
they do have coating on
Okay.
windshields, but we're
Okay.
talking about it penetrates
Yeah,
the fuselage.
that's fair.
So here's the deal. This is the first thing I thought of last year. I'm a space reporter also. Last year, we reported on Jarek Isaacman, who is now our FAA administrator.
Yeah.
But billionaire, very accomplished pilot. And a year or two ago, he has a lot of money, and he paid SpaceX for the privilege and the opportunity to go into space and do the first civilian private spacewalk. So typically, you have airlocks in like the space station, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
That you are, once you leave the pressurized safe area, you'll go into a different lock, close that, depressurize, then open that lock and go out into space. He just opened the damn door.
Oh no.
Now, the man is brilliant, so I'm not discounting his knowledge.
Yeah.
But the first thing I knew of, you are exposing those other people to even more radiation. He left the hatch open.
He just got excited.
Well, but
Yeah.
he didn't have that gateway airlock thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he was out there for a while walking with someone else. So the other astronaut in there, private civilian astronaut in there, is exposed to all that. Now, of course, they have suits on,
Uh-huh.
pressurized suits and oxygen, right? But still, that's the number one concern for astronauts is the radiation damage. And that can affect your brain. It can cause cancer.
I want to say
all
they
sorts of
do
things.
have a statistically higher percentage of cancer. It's a small sample size, but like
Right.
Right.
it's something that
Right.
NASA's
Not that
looked
many
into,
people are
yeah.
going to space. But I mean, I wonder that this is literally something that I have never even thought of. And May-Kay, you brought up, yes, there is the exposure to the flying public, but
But it's small.
it's a
compared
small amount
to
compared to what a
pilot.
pilot would see.
Right. So you had asked me, do you know anybody that has suffered from
Mhm.
this? A lot of us aren't even familiar with, I didn't even know that was an issue, thinking back at my experience. But a good friend of mine who's been an airline pilot all her life, and I asked her about this yesterday, she flew with a captain. Apparently, they have like detection cards that you can, it's like an ID, the size of an ID, and you pin it to your uniform,
Mhm.
and it tells you how much radiation you are exposed to. And she said he wore his every day.
But then what do you do if
Yeah,
if
what do
it's
you do?
if it's
Well-
giving you data that says, hey, you're about to max out what your body can
Yeah.
handle for the month or whatever?
Yeah.
What do you just I can't fly?
It's a
anymore?
self-monitoring tool, and that's the deal with this report that came out that said, look, y'all need to get with the FAA and come up with better ways to evaluate what you're going to do about it.
Mhm.
But anyway, this captain apparently got nervous and worried about it, according to my friend, and he stopped flying transatlantic, where you would go up closer to the poles
Uh-huh.
and stay
Oh.
domestically
Hmm.
because he was
Okay.
worried by the information he was gathering that
Huh.
he was exposed to too much.
You know what I would like to see, and I'm afraid it would freak me out when I saw the results. But if they had some type of interactive map, almost like a radar, when we can see the rain that's moving across
Yeah.
the country, if there was a similar map that almost had levels of radiation that we're exposing ourselves to at any given time, whether it's coming from a radio tower, whether it's coming from a cell phone,
Oh,
whether or
yeah.
not that's true or not, or some of these bigger things, I think we'd be amazed and almost
Yeah.
freaked out.
Yeah.
Like we're so grateful and we're so dependent on technology, but I think if we knew the amount of radiation that certain things were emitting, would be freaked out. Not enough where
Oh,
we
I'd
need
be
to.
totally freaked out.
I mean, like I'd still come out of the house and everything, but
Right.
it's
Right.
crazy.
But you're still going to use your cell phone.
See,
Well,
that's the
that's the
thing.
deal.
Deal.
But you-
And we're still going to fly planes because
Yeah.
most of us that are
Because we
behind,
have to.
we love to fly.
Mhm.
And if I had the opportunity to go into space, I'm not worried
Yeah.
about that other.
Yeah,
This
right.
is my
Yeah.
dream.
And if
and
it's
I'm
our
gonna
time
do
to
it.
go, I mean, if it's my time to go, it's my
But,
time
but
to
you
go.
don't want to be suffering in later years.
Yeah,
For
no,
sure.
you're right.
You know,
Let-
like Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams, our Starliner astronauts who are up there for extended stay, you would hate to think that down the road they're going to be
Yes.
They say that, right? Nobody wants that. But that's your dream. You want to be in space. We know there are dangers, and so be it.
Queen City News Plus. Just search Queen City News on your smart TV's app store.